What's going on, guys? So today we have a very significant upgrade to our Maglite 6D project. Last week I did an LED upgrade. Of course, the number one thing you'd want to do to customize your Maglite or bring it into 2020 essentially is to put an LED in there, right? So there's a bunch of different LED drop-ins, and when I say drop-in, what I really mean by that is something that you can purchase, unscrew the cap, unscrew the head and just, pop it in as if it was a bulb or something. Something that's really simple. Now, of course, the flashlight-aholics out there, the people who are literally taking circuit boards and LEDs and soldering and doing all that kind of stuff, the sky's the limit on that. You could do anything you want. But I would say most people don't have the capability, the time, the know-how, or the interest in actually making a custom insert, okay? People just want to be able to buy something, unscrew something, pop it in, anyone can do it type thing. So my original idea was we're putting some, serious money into getting some different cool parts like the bezel, and the busta cap, tail cap, and all these cool things. But I knew obviously we had to upgrade it to LED, right? I want something brighter. So I went with kind of a cheaper drop-in. I think it was like $17, if memory serves. It was that LITT Industries LED drop-in, and you could definitely tell the difference. It was brighter. But one of the more disappointing things with that to me, which I didn't even, think about, it kind of glazed over, was the fact that we were still using the original reflector. So even though it was a little bit brighter and it had that cool white, coloration, as opposed to the extremely warm white original bulb, you still had all those artifacts, okay? So even as you're adjusting the head, you had, dark spots here and there. And that's obviously one of the biggest things most people don't like about Maglites, right? So as soon as I did that, even before recording the video, I went outside, and tried it real quick, and I'm like, it's brighter, but I was left feeling very like, wah, 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 and, some people thought, hey, it's cool, it's brighter, and it's not that expensive. However, plenty of you were thinking the same thing that I was thinking when I saw it, which was, wah, 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 So I found on Amazon the brightest drop-in, I believe, in the world. All right, I don't think there's a brighter drop-in LED module for a 60 Maglite anywhere in the world. Okay, this is the Adventure Sport Flashlights 5000 lumen drop-in. Okay, it is super easy. It's one solid piece. This has up to, I think, 24 different modes. And what I mean by that, it's not like individual modes. 24 different sets of modes, okay? So how you get this, it is already set up for a high, medium, low, which I'll show you in a moment. These cost $138, or like $139 on Amazon, $138.99 I think is what it is exactly. You could buy them direct from the website for $130, but it's plus shipping. So obviously if you're on Amazon, you get free shipping. So I guess it works out either way to about 140 bucks. Now that's significant. That's an expensive upgrade. You're talking about, a $30 to $40 flashlight. Spending $140 to upgrade it, it's significant. Now I do want to point out its competition, okay, which to me is not really competition, but it's important to note that if you like the idea of a Maglite, but you want a LED Maglite, which a lot of people suggested, when I was talking about dropping an LED, they're like, why don't you just get like a stock LED Maglite, right? There's two major ones that exist that are on the high end of things. There's the ML300L, okay? And the ML300L is a stock Maglite that puts out 694 lumens. Now that's 82 bucks. That has a couple modes, including strobe, which is pretty cool. But it's $82 for 694 lumens. Then your other option for a stock LED Maglite, which a lot of people would like because it is rechargeable, it's a whole system, has like a docking station, has a charging collar, so you just pop it right in the station when you're not using it, it's automatically charging. That's the RL1019. That's putting out 643 lumens and costs $98. Okay, so both of those options are very good. They're both just under $100, and you're going to get a much more efficient LED stock Maglite. In the case of the RL1019, obviously a whole charging system, which is really, really convenient and simple. Keep it in your garage, utility room, whatever. You can keep it next to your bed if you wanted to. Those are cool options, and again, less than 100 bucks. However, they're topping out at less than 700 lumens. This drop-in, 5,000 lumens. Okay, this is just next level stuff. Now, it is important to note if you drop this in and you use regular alkaline D batteries, so you just go to the store and buy regular old D batteries, you're only going to get half the output. Okay, you're going to get about 2,500 lumens, which is still incredible. But if you want that full 5,000, you have to either switch over to some lithium ions, or, which is even easier, which is what I did, is used rechargeable Ds. Okay, so I have rechargeable D cell batteries. Let me show you that real quick. All right, still using 6 of them. A nice little charging station. So it's really simple to charge these when needed. All right, these are the Tenergy ones you can get like on Amazon and stuff. So that is an important note, is that if you do want that full 5,000 lumens, you do have to upgrade your batteries a little bit. Getting the chargeable Ds is not a huge deal. Obviously, this is a dedicated build, so it's something that was worth it to me. So how you drop this in, which is super simple. All right, first thing you do is take out your bulb. All right, and then in this case, I was taking out my other LED upgrade, and you're putting the collar back on. All right, you're taking out the reflector, because this doesn't need a reflector. And that's something else that's worth noting, is that this is all flood, okay? Because we have a very interesting filter, basically, instead of a reflector, this is refracting light in every direction, all over the place, okay? So this is literally what I've always called the wall of light. Now this utilizes 3 Cree XHP50 LEDs, and again, pumping out 5,000 lumens, all right, on its highest output. Pretty amazing. Now, as an aside, I'll probably make this 2 parts because I don't feel like it's necessary to do an entire part on this, but I did upgrade to a glass lens, okay? This is also from Adventure Sport. I think they sell these for like $6. Now, the advantage of having an actual glass lens as opposed to plastic is twofold. Well, it's actually threefold, I suppose. The first part is that more light is able to pass through it because it's clearer than plastic. The second part and more important part is that it's scratch resistant, okay? And this is like a tempered glass. So like when you have the plastic stock lenses, you know, you get a little scratch in it. As time goes on, those scratches build up, and then what happens is the light bounces off the scratches back towards the head. So it might be something that you don't even really notice, but over time it will get duller and duller because you're not getting all that light allowing to pass through. And the third part obviously is durability. Now, they do make very cheap, you know, glass lens inserts, which you can just buy. I mean, it just depends on where you're getting them. Now, you would think the plastic would be more durable than glass, but the tempered glass is very hard. I've never heard of anyone, you know, breaking theirs or anything. Now, all you have to do to install this is put it in the head. That's it. All right, and then put the bezel back on. But it's important to note that there's 2 styles of Maglite, and they do have different depths on the inside. So you want this to be flush like this, okay? If it's not flush, there is a ring spacer that comes with this, so it's going to fit all of those variants on Maglites, okay, whether it's new or old. So literally popping that in, all right, putting on the bezel here. I zoomed in here for a second just to show you this. With this setup with the slightly thicker glass lens, all right, which to be honest is not totally necessary. You don't need the lens in there anymore because you do have this enclosed insert. But hey, I mean, I just like it, so it's there. But if you don't want to do that, it'll lock up totally fine. With this exact setup on this particular Maglite, there's just ever so slightly a crack there. So I threw on a spare O-ring just to make sure that that is completely sealed. Again, not totally necessary, but just something that I did. All right, so that is it. That is how you install this. It could not be easier. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and put this back on the flashlight, screw it down all the way. And what's really cool about this is as soon as you get it out of the box, it's set up for the 3 modes, which is really, really nice. Not only do we have 5,000 lumens on our flashlight, but now we have some modes. So how the modes work is by, obviously, we still have the original just 1 side button. So when I first turn it on, it's that full 5,000 lumens, but I'm doing a half press. I'm not actually clicking it on, because clicking it on would keep it constant on. So if you do the half press and let go, do another half press, and do another half press, you're changing the mode. So it's high, it's low, medium, high. Low, medium, high. You can, you know, click it on any of those positions. All right, so that is really, really cool. Now, what I said before is that this has 24 mode combinations, and I had to print this out so I didn't, you know, have to try to explain this without any kind of visuals at all. So what this means is that there's a mode groups, different types of mode groups that you can actually customize and select in here. So if I zoom in a little bit, to show you this. To give you an example, let's say you didn't want the high, medium, low. You would program this to mode number 9 and it would just be the highest output. So no matter what, every time you hit the button to turn it on, it would just be that full 5,000 lumens. Now let's say you like a ton of different modes, okay? If you program it to mode number 21, you'll see we have 1%, 5%, 15%, 40%, and 100% with memory functions. So every time you turn it on, it would go back to the previous mode that you had it in. Okay, so in this particular case, there's 5 different modes that you can have it set to. And then of course, every different combination thereof. So it really just depends on whatever is floating your boat, what you want to use this for, you know. And if you like, for example, if you go to mode number 11, you have strobe with 100%. So if you really want to use this in the tactical sense, like this flashlight is supposed to be built to, right? The purpose of me building this flashlight, and I'll go over this in the end, was specific to a self-defense situation. So this would be the mode that I'd prefer had I be keeping this light 100%, so it's that full output, or strobe. All right, so you can use the strobe to disorientate whatever your threat is. So you can see there's a ton of different combinations of modes, which is really, really cool. So I printed the bottom part out here with instructions as well, just in case you happen to get this on your own. It says to switch mode groups, you rapidly tap the switch 8 times. The light will then enter the programming mode and begin to flash. With the light in programming mode, tap the switch to the same number of times as your desired mode group, right? The light will blink and your mode group will be memorized. So basically you're gonna do a half press 8 times, you know. After the 8 times, it's gonna blink, and that means it's ready to go. And then obviously if you want, let's say mode number 6, you would hit it 6 times, and then it would be set to mode group number 6. So I know it might seem a little confusing, but basically there's 24 different combinations of modes you can go with. It could be as simple as just all in all the time, or a ton of different modes. And then there's also the turbo timer, okay? This is kind of an interesting concept as well, and this is again for more advanced flashlight people. But it says to set the turbo timer, rapidly tap the switch 8 times. The light will then enter the programming mode and begin to flash, just like the other one. With the light in programming mode, tap the switch 30 times to enter the turbo timer set mode. The light will then switch to 100% power. When the light is at the desired temperature for the turbo step down, turn the light off. The turbo timer will then be set. The turbo timer steps the light down to 50% regardless of the mode group set. So what that means is that you can have an automatic step down. For example, let's say you want this to be 100%, but if it's on for exactly a minute and you feel like it's getting hot or something like that, you can have it so that after a minute of being on, it can automatically step down to 50%, that 2500 lumen output. You can have that automatically happen after 10 seconds. You can have it happen after 10 minutes. You know, that's totally up to you. That's a whole separate thing that I wouldn't even begin to, you know, bother with personally, but it's an option, which is really cool. So all the custom, you know, flashlight guys out there, you have a ton of capability with this drop-in. So that is that. We went from, I think like 187 lumens, whatever it happens to be, from a stock xenon bulb to 5,000 lumens. That is 28 times brighter than the stock output, okay? So there is, well, there you go. There was medium the second time. There's that 5,000 lumens. Let me let the light adjust there. And that was only a side shot. So we're going to get outside, of course, give you a quick demo in comparison. But again, because of the reflector, or because of the drop-in style, this is going to refract light everywhere. So what you're getting is a complete wall of light. There's no, I mean, there's inherently some throw just because of the power, but this is literally like light up your whole backyard, light up your whole garage, light up your entire house. Okay, that's the kind of drop-in that this is. All right, as opposed to the old style where you obviously still have the original reflector. Now that is something worth noting, is that if you like the idea of still having an adjustable head, so you can, you know, kind of go from flood to a tight beam, then you might want to stick with one of the stock Maglite models. Again, the ML300L being 694 lumens is still a lot brighter than a stock Maglite. It does have the LED, which is very nice. It does have a couple different modes, which is really cool as well. I think they technically say there's 5 modes, I think, because they're considering momentary on a mode, but then you have high, medium, low, and strobe. So that's pretty cool. And again, under $100 bucks, so it's pretty budget friendly in that sense. And then you have the RL1019, which again, 643 lumens. It is, has a whole charging system, which is really cool. Both of those lights, I believe, have the original stock Maglite reflector, so you can adjust it, again, to tighten the beam or open it up. I don't know offhand, maybe you guys can chime in if you have one of those models, but I'm pretty sure you're still gonna have those artifacts. Being brighter, maybe they get blown out a little bit less, so they're, or excuse me, blown out a little more, so they're a little less noticeable with the higher outputs. But again, you're talking about 3 times as bright as a stock one, not 28 times as bright. But that is the only disadvantage I can possibly think of with this drop-in, is that you don't have the ability to adjust the beam anymore. But to me, it doesn't matter. It is a wall of light. This thing just lights up everything. So anyway, we're gonna get outside and take a look at the performance on this. And at the end, I'll do a comparison. In the last video, I showed the before and after with the stock xenon bulb compared to the LITT LED drop-in. Well, I'll use that original photo and then compare it, to this now. All right, so we're outside. We're gonna do a quick test here. And what a difference that is. Wow. All right, so this is all flood. I'm actually gonna turn this off for a second. We're gonna try low first, then medium, and then back to that high. And we're gonna go ahead and click that into position. This is, I mean, literally night and day. It's a complete area light. You can see the bush now. That's crazy. I mean, extremely, extremely bright in comparison. And it's kind of hard to tell just for this shot alone in person. I mean, it's lighting up the entire outside here, whole driveway. So going up into the trees, I mean, it is just all spill everywhere. It's a wall of light. Again, kind of hard to give a good representation unless you're in person here. But what's really cool though is that there's no artifacts at all. There's no shadows or dark spots. All right, it's just a pure wall of light. So very cool. So there you go. There's just a quick reference in this particular peak, so you can see the difference between the two. So there you go, guys. That is literally night and day. Now we actually have some serious output. Again, to the best of my knowledge, this is the absolute brightest LED drop-in in the world for a 60 Maglite. So we went from, yeah, let's make this a little brighter, to this is the brightest it could possibly be without you, having to actually solder things and understand exactly how, flashlights work, and basically build one from scratch. All right, anyone could do this. You're literally unscrewing the head, pop it in, screwing it back on. Could not be easier. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this week's video. Stay tuned. There's one very important thing you need with this flashlight, specifically because it's so big. Feel free to guess, but I'm not going to answer it yet. So we have to get that accessory, a very important accessory. And then I think the last upgrade I want to do is totally funky and something you might not have ever seen before. So stay tuned for that. I'm purposely leaving it to the end because it's weird. It could be very cool. Some people will love it, some people will hate it, but it is definitely a weird option to customize your Maglite. So that's it for now. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Take care.